My guest this morning is Bob Santelli. He is the executive director of the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music. Bob, we have a lot to get to. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jim. Happy to be here.
Let's start with the American Music Honors 2026 coming to Monmouth University. The date is Saturday, April 18th, and you have quite the lineup of people being inducted this year.
Yeah, this is our fourth American Music Honors, and it has grown to the point where, we're trying to hit as many American music forms as possible. So this time around, for instance, first time ever we're doing hip hop and honoring, of course, the iconic Dr. Dre. And then also Dionne Warwick, who's also a Jersey girl, someone that Bruce is a huge fan of, and comes from that whole Burt Bacharach, Hal David school of music from the early '60s, and we've not really touched on that yet. So we're honored to bring her down to the Jersey Shore to be part of the festivities.
And you also have another Jersey girl, and that would be Patricia, as her mom called her, Patti Smith.
That's right. It's a bit of a Jersey show when it comes to the females this time around. Yes, of course, hailing from South Jersey, Patti Smith, and of course, Patti and Bruce have had a long relationship, and we've not done really punk or any of the kind of downtown New York stuff that was so prevalent, of course, in the '70s and '80s. You remember that as well as I do, and having her there is a great thing. We are just really excited about the lineup this year.
And the Patricia reference is Nick Corasaniti's book on the Stone Pony. I'm sure you've read that. And
Oh
the
yeah.
anecdotes about Patti Smith and her mom. And I just got such a charge, Bob, out of her mom calling her Patricia. You're talking too much. And of course, the E Street Band being inducted and the Doors. So it's a very eclectic group of musicians.
It is. It is. And the Doors, well, for obvious reasons, we wish it was all four members, but it will be Robbie Krieger and John Densmore, of course. And that goes back, we had long discussions. We have a whole executive committee and we meet in late summer to try and determine who we wanted to honor. And, some of the connections, if there are connections to Jersey and the Jersey Shore in particular. And back in 1968, the Doors played Asbury Park. And I remember that well because I was there, as was Bruce and as was Patty Scout, his wife. We didn't know each other then, but that was a really important show for the Jersey Shore music scene because Morrison, if I'm not mistaken, had just come off of the infamous Miami show, where things got a little edgy out there on the stage. But the Doors are natural for this, and having them to come. And they're still here. We can honor them. And so the thought was, let's do it. Let's get that done this year.
And anytime you can have a show where the house band is the Disciples of Soul, you've got yourself quite the lineup.
Yeah, and add that to the E Street Band. I mean, I have no idea how the encore will go because there's going to be a lot of musicians up on stage, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And that really doesn't happen. It's kind of like the old Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shows when they were at the Waldorf Astoria, where you just don't know what's going to happen regarding the encore. Now, the show is the show, but uh, boy, I don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to be really exciting, and it's something that I think fans will appreciate for a long time.
I noticed on the website where they're talking about this show, it says rock star casual attire. And all I can think of is that Steve Van Zandt rock star casual attire? Or
There's only one Steve Van Zandt. Only one person dresses like Steve Van Zandt. But we want to be respectful. I mean, this is something similar to like the Kennedy Center honors. We're not wearing tuxedos, right? But the idea is not a concert. This is meant to be, there's an informality to the presentation, but a formality to the honor. And that's really important. There's a big reception for those who come, and there's dinner and things. And so, it's a bit more than just handing out awards and listening to great music.
you've been involved over the course of your career in other such type organizations like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for example. How does the process of inducting someone into the American Music Honors differ from the Rock Hall of Fame, Bob?
The arguing still goes on, and the people on the committee pushing for their favorites are ones that they believe ought to be done. The problem with this is American music. It's jazz, it's blues, it's bluegrass, it's folk, it's country, it's all kinds of rock, it's classical, could be anything. And we can only do five or so a year. So it gets really interesting as to who. And most importantly, we try and think about the genre too. We obviously, because of who we are, there's an emphasis on rock. And quite honestly, for the past 60 some odd years, rock has been our main, most creative musical expression. But we have not done jazz yet. So we're looking to do it. But getting hip hop in the door this time, especially with someone as iconic with Dr. Dre, is huge for us. But as we move forward in the years, the opportunity to explore other music, American music forms, will be something that we look forward to.
I think the fact that you don't have the word rock in the name is probably helps you a little bit because I know that's a big point of contention with the Rock Hall in Cleveland. Well, that's not rock and roll. Well, which can't be defined anyway, but I understand
Right.
some of the arguments that people make.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we don't have that. People will say, well, when are you doing jazz or when are you doing bluegrass, which is fine. But if you just look at the reality of it, you couldn't do, I mean, there are so many music forms America has had produced, particularly in the 20th century. We'd be there for a week celebrating each form each year. Just can't do it. So we pick and choose and again, try and pay attention to the show itself, how it moves and how it flows. And so hopefully this year we've done a good job, and we've added something this year that have we've never done before. There are a number of great artists who have passed that have had a profound impact on American music. And if we go by what that particular award means, a significant contribution to the American music treasury. Interestingly enough, and there was some argument on this, we're going to honor posthumously the band. And someone said, well, that's a great idea, except they were all Canadian except for Levon Helm. I said, well, what borders aside, they certainly had a major influence on American music and drew so much from American music. So we're going to have this special tribute to the band, which will be a first time part of the American Music Honor Show.
And of course, Canada, a part of the North American continent.
Of
And
course,
if you want to think of perhaps the quintessential Americana sound, it's those guys.
can't beat it. Exactly it. They defined it. They put the bar so high, it's awfully hard to go over. I mean, that group, the band, was pretty special. And when we think about the importance and influences that they had, you said, I mean, if you're consider yourself an Americana artist, you've been influenced by the band.
One of the other things that the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music is doing is taking the show on the road, and that would be Bruce Springsteen in Passaic County, which is running through July 5th at the Passaic County Arts Center in Hawthorne. And while Bruce is so closely identified with the Jersey Shore music scene, those five shows that he did at the Capitol Theater certainly helped put him on the map.
Oh yeah, I mean they're legendary, and everyone loved going to the Capitol. I mean, the Capitol was Al Fillmore. It was the place in New Jersey that you could call your own. The Philly had their show, their places. Certainly, New York had theirs, but we had the Capitol Theater, and down here the Stone Pony, but not a concert hall. The Capitol Theater was a concert hall, and those Bruce shows, absolutely. We were honored when they reached out to us and said, "Look, we would love to bring it up here," meaning the show, the Eric Miola show, which basically is an exploration of one of the most famous photo shoots of all time, which was for the photo shoot for the Born to Run album. And we were delighted that they were interested because part of our mission is to work with other entities and towns and institutions in the state of New Jersey to share what we have at the Springsteen archives to help tell stories that are very Jersey based, and this one certainly is.
Bruce's first time at the Capitol Theater was in October of 1974. And just a couple of weeks ago, Bob, I had Alan Pepper and Billy Altman on the new book about the bottom line. And Alan was talking about Bruce at the bottom line in 1974. And he came away with Yeah, they're good, but and he's talking about like I got to get a second show in here, Bruce. Let's kind of go here. And you fast forward now to October of that year. John Sebastian was supposed to be the headliner. Bruce does and the E Street Band, they do their sound check. And John Sebastian turns to the promoter, John Scher, and says, and I can't repeat it because of FCC rules, but basically says, there's no way I'm following that kid. I'm going on before him. And John Scher acquiesced, and thus you get Dan Fogelberg, John Sebastian, the headliner, and Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, who tore the place down that night.
I think there would be more than one act that would have said the same thing because, Bruce and the E Street Band was on fire in 74. 74, 75, and 76 are three of my favorite years to see the E Street Band. My time goes back. I go all the way back to Steel Mill. I remember those days having grown up on the Jersey Shore, been able to see the evolution of Bruce's art and the bands. And boy, that year, and of course the following year in 75, he plays the Bottom Line again. And rock and roll world is different after that.
Let me ask you a question. I asked this with Alan and Billy a couple of weeks ago because you think of Bruce Springsteen and the Bottom Line, Bruce Springsteen and the Capitol Theater, and in some ways, Bruce made the bottom line because all of a sudden, you're hearing it again and again on a national basis. At the same time, the bottom line makes Bruce. How does that translate to the Capitol Theater? Because a lot of people, in this area, we all know the Capitol Theater. We all went to shows there. But Bruce helps put the Capitol Theater now on this platform. Like you mentioned, it was our Fillmore. And now it gets this national exposure.
That's true. I would say Bruce, and you cannot forget the Grateful Dead because the Grateful Dead played a lot of shows there. John Scher had a great relationship with them, and some great shows came out of there. But when it came to Springsteen and Springsteen's legacy, the Capitol Theater ranks in longtime Springsteen fans' minds as one of the great places to have seen him. The 78 show, I believe was one of the great ones. It was, you know what? Those were really great glory days for if you were interested in rock and roll and you didn't want to or couldn't make it into the city, you had your own place. And I don't think that Capitol Theater gets enough credit in overall rock history as being one of the truly great venues. But in my mind, it ranks right up there with the Fillmores. They had the shows to prove it.
One of the other things I wanted to mention while we were talking is the Tuesday Night Record Club that takes place at Monmouth University. I've been to a couple of those hosted by Kenneth Womack, and they are wonderful. And there's a Tom Petty one coming up on April 7th for Damn the Torpedoes. It's kind of like a book club, but with an album.
That's right. That's right. It is a lot of fun. People engage. There's a little bit of argument, but really, and in a fun way. But one of the things that's most important about it is that we try to provide insight, ideas, interpretations, and factual material that will make you a more sophisticated listener, that you'll be able to appreciate these works of art in a more profound way. I mean, that's the whole point of it. And people love it. I was doing my versions of that out on the West Coast and for the same reasons and with the same responses. We have regulars who come to this all the time, and we did Born to Run during the 50th anniversary, and that we did it live. We had over 400 people attend, which was terrific. So watch for more of these as we begin to. So as soon as we open our brand new building, they'll be done live in our brand new theater, and I can't wait for the whole host of ideas that we have coming for you this fall.
I went to the Smithereens, especially for you, Tuesday Night Record Club, and Jim Babjack and Dennis Dyken showed up. And Bob, they told stories, and I know that band pretty well. I've been playing them for decades on the radio and have a personal relationship with all of the members. That aside, I'm thinking, like, I know a lot about this band. They told stories that night I had never heard. It was just such a wonderful, fun experience.
Oh yeah, and when that happens, then it makes it truly special, right? It doesn't happen often because, well, the late Tom Petty couldn't be there, but clearly the idea of engaging with the artists and telling stories that again accentuate or make better your listening experience is what it's all about. Ken does a great job with these, and we're very happy that they're going to continue for as long as people are interested in them.
You just referenced the new building. Tell our listeners about that, the status, what you're going to do with it, etc.
Yeah, so we are early this summer. We will be announcing probably in about 3 weeks or so the grand opening of the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music. Now, the organization, the entity exists now, but we don't have a home, right? But a brand new building built just across the street from the main campus of Monmouth University, not 3 or 4 blocks from where Bruce wrote the landmark album Born to Run. And where I has as a student at then Monmouth College, I saw Springsteen play many times. Many of his earliest fan base people were Monmouth College students at the time. So the fact that it's here makes a lot of sense. It's a really interesting building. When we open our doors, I hope people will come and visit it because I got to say, it's not a museum. We're not meant to be a museum, not a Bruce Springsteen museum. It is an archives that has exhibition space, public programs, education programs, a wonderful theater that we are doing with Tom Zimney, creating a film about Bruce and American music. All of this will emerge this summer. And so be aware in about 3 weeks or so, we'll make a big announcement as to our opening date. As I look out the window and see this blizzard going full blast, it might throw us off a couple of days because we're going to do some shoveling down here. But all kidding aside, early summer is the target, and I'm pretty sure we'll make it.
Tickets for the American Music Honors 2026 on Saturday, April 18th. Those tickets go on sale March 18th. And then there's the Bruce Springsteen in Passaic County exhibit running in Hawthorne through July 5th. And of course, the Tuesday night record club stuff that's going on. You can get all of the information online at springsteencenter.org. Bob Santelli, Executive Director of the Bruce Springsteen Center for American Music. It's always fun to talk with you, and best of luck.
You too, Jim. Thanks for having me on.